Well, good morning to everybody. Have a question for you. What are you sowing and what are you growing in your life? That is the question that we have been considering all week long as we've journeyed together with our vine. It's from a parable of Jesus from Matthew chapter 13. He tells the story about a farmer who went out to sow some seed, and some of the seed fell on the pathway, and it was a hard pathway. And so the birds came and swooped in and ate the seed, so it didn't produce any fruit. Other seed fell on the rocky soil that wasn't able to take root, and so that seed also did not produce fruit. And then there was seed that fell among the thorns, and the weeds grew up and choked out the seed, and the plants didn't grow. Jesus said that's what it's like when the worries of the world take over in our lives. And then the farmer sowed some seed on good soil, and that seed produced a beautiful crop, a crop with 30 to 60, even 100 times what was sown. And Jesus, of course, shared this parable to help the hearers understand the transforming power of God's word when it falls on the good soil of our hearts and produces beautiful, beautiful fruit. And that's a beautiful meaning behind the parable, but I think there might be some additional ways that this parable can have meaning in our lives. I think all of us are sowing and growing things every day of our lives. I'm not a gardener, and that was proven to me back in Oklahoma where we lived. We had a beautiful home on a large acreage, and so we lived out in the country, and I decided to till up some soil and plant this big garden. And I was so proud of myself as I planted the seed and waited and waited and waited for that beautiful crop to appear. And the only thing that seemed to grow were weeds. And I remember Monica's dad, who was a farmer, visiting us a few months later. And he all of a sudden stooped down into the ground and pulled up this weed. And on the other side of that weed was the most massive turnip I'd ever seen in my life. And he reached down again, and what I thought was a weed was actually the stalk of a carrot and onions, and there was a bumper crop. I was growing some beautiful vegetables, and I just had no idea. I thought it was weeds. And despite my incompetence in growing a garden, I think it's a great reminder to me that we're all sowing seeds and we're all growing things in our lives, whether we realize it or not. You know, in the things we say and in our actions, we're either sowing encouragement or doubt, faith or despair. Through the things we say and the way we live, we're sowing seeds of love and kindness, or maybe seeds of hatred and division. Our words and our actions sow things in people's lives that give them the courage to face whatever might come, or it instills fear and worry and anxiety in our lives. All of us are sowing and growing something in our lives. And my prayer for my own life is that the words I say and the things I do might sow the seeds of God's kingdom in the lives of others. And you know with me that the fruit of that kingdom is love and joy and peace. And I believe our world longs for that more than ever. So this week, as you consider how you're using your words and how God is using your life, maybe you could join with me in praying that God would allow us to sow seeds of his kingdom, that the fruit of his kingdom would be experienced in the lives of others, that love and joy and peace and goodness and beauty that Jesus talked so much about. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be about sowing and growing something. And I pray that this week, today, it might be pleasing to God and a blessing to others. I think you believe that as well. So I'll be praying for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday wake up. What a great way to start the day, and what a great way to allow God's word to take root and bear fruit in our lives. I hope you have a really wonderful day. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments, and I'll be praying for you. Please pray for me as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful day as you sow and as you grow for the glory of God.